What is the price of perfection? Well, in the beauty, that is every influencer's wildest dream, a sexually transmitted disease that makes everybody their most flawless version of themselves. But in the world of Ryan Murphy's latest thriller, that same dream is a literal biological bomb. Across the first 3 episodes, we aren't just watching some sci-fi mystery. We're watching a grotesque satire of the Ozempic obsessed society that we live in today. So today we're going to break down the premiere, the virus, the corporation that's pulling all the strings behind the scenes, and we're going to break down the truth behind the beauty, the pure version, and that rogue strain that's making people blow up. If you finish the first 3 episodes just like I did, wondering what the fuck is going on and really like what is going on, stay locked in with me and let's talk about the beauty. I'll be real with y'all. I spent most of the first episode of the 3 just wondering what the hell was I watching. I was sitting there trying to put it all together and it just didn't really make a lot of sense. It came together by the end of the first episode and we started getting some of the lore and the mystery and what was really going on with the beauty and why people were exploding and whatnot. But it felt like the show was trying to do 5 things at once: a thriller, a horror show, sci-fi, and then suddenly we're on this globe-trotting international mystery that we're trying to solve what is causing all the exploding people around the world. It took too long for them to explain the rules, and for me, I just didn't enjoy being lost that long. But episodes 2 and 3 finally smooth things out. They explain the lore a little bit more, the mystery, we get into that and what's really going on and what we're trying to find out. And then we kind of get a map of the world and where things are taking place at. But the show basically explores our obsession with perfection and the vanity that people are willing to break standards to get to that perfection. But it definitely blends the lines between horror and satire. But you guys tell me, did you find that first episode just as confusing as I did, or did you all have it figured out pretty much immediately, or as soon as it came on, you kind of knew what was going on? Because I didn't. I'm not even going to sit here and lie to you. The first 35 minutes, I was lost. And what do you guys think about the whole globe-trotting? Is it too much? Is it too big of a scale? Is it a little bit out of the Ryan Murphy realm? Maybe a little bit, or maybe not. But I'm kind of enjoying it. It caught me off guard because I didn't expect them to be going basically around the world in this show, but it's a nice touch. Before we dive into the spoilers, if you're into shows that mix high concept sci-fi with horror elements and anything in between, hit that subscribe button. It really helps the show and it lets me know that you guys like these type of episodes, and I will keep bringing them to you. But the premiere episode basically kicks off with a literal bang. We're at a modeling show, then we're on not a high-speed chase, but we're on a motorcycle chase that ends in a car crash, and then it ends with a woman exploding. The only thing I pulled from that is that it basically explains that this virus or whatever it was is very, very dangerous. And they drew that line very, very early. We meet our leads, Cooper and Jordan. Cooper is the pro-natural guy who doesn't like all this beauty stuff, and Jordan is the insecure FBI agent, very, very brilliant and smart. But she's a little insecure, and she maybe is not willing to dive into the beauty, but she likes to, I wouldn't say conform, but she wants to beautify herself just a little bit. But because she struggles with her own vanity and she does kind of want to conform, she is basically emotional heart for this show, in my opinion. Evan Peters Cooper, on the other hand, is the detective that is deeply disgusted with everything around this beauty stuff. He's just this, I like everything just regular and natural and how everything should be, or how we were meant to be. But whose side are you guys on? Are you with all the beauty stuff, even if it's dangerous, or are you more of a natural person? But before we get into the rest of it, let's talk about the lore. We meet Ashton Kutcher's Byron Forst. He's the leader of the corporation. Those are the guys that are pulling all the strings and cleaning up all the messes behind the scenes. He's the one who developed the original shot, so he's the tech savior, the one who can save all, but he's actually a monster down deep. And then we have the assassin, the guy in the shadows, the one who goes around cleaning up all the messes. Real savvy, real slick. I really like Anthony Ramos, and I really like Anthony Ramos' play on this character. He looks like he's in his peak 30s, but we learn that he's actually 65 years old. So he's clearly had a version of the beauty that bypasses the 2-year death clock that comes associated with the beauty. So he isn't just a killer. He's actually the corporation's product. But tell me before we get into the rest, knowing that little bit about the pure version and the more chaotic version that they have of it, where the pure version keeps you fine, but the one that has everybody exploding in the streets is we'll call it the rage version. Would you be willing to risk it all for the pure version and give up everything? That way you can look like your better version forever? Or would you may just want to just take a chance for 2 years and look as good as you can and boom, it's over? So episode 2 and 3 basically focus on how the virus changes who you are. We get the Jordan pinching her skin in the mirror scene. But then the most tragic thing was Jeremy, the guy who was very, very low self-esteem, who just wanted to be liked by girls and, the typical ugly duckling story. But Jeremy becomes the very thing that he used to hate. He molts into a Chad, which he had to go into this weird, slimy cocoon. He pops out as a new version of himself, some skinny, cut-up version of basically a totally different person. But he goes through this metamorphosis, I guess, and he is in a little cocoon, and he comes out slimy and bloody, and it's a lot of body horror, and I really enjoyed it. It was a really good scene, and it's nice to explore body horror in this way because it was a lot. And if you've seen it, you know it was a lot. But that molten scene, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much did that scene gross you guys out? I would say for me, maybe like a 2. It didn't really bother me too much, but I know it probably could have been a lot for some people because it was a lot. I didn't expect it to be all of that, this big spectacle, but it was definitely a spectacle of sorts. And once Jeremy went around killing people and doing everything he could just to be slim, I mean, I guess you could say, did you feel bad for him anymore? Or was he just part of the problem? Were you waiting for him to blow up just like I was? The big aha moment that we get in the show in episode 3, I believe it is, we learn that the corporation isn't just managing and cleaning up this situation because they don't want their product to get out too early or somebody to steal it or whatnot. We learn that some of this stuff is actually planned. They are targeting certain people who may not be good for the brand, and with the rogue version of the beauty, and they can basically pull the trigger on them and make them blow up at any point, which explains some of the corporation's reach. Because if you really think about it, think about all of the victims. The ones that became a problem for the brand, the magazine person, for example, boom, they were gone. Just that simple. Problem solved. But now that I've told you about that, and I'm sure you saw it for yourself, do you think every explosion that we've seen so far was triggered, or maybe just a happy accident because there was a lot of sex in these episodes? So happy accident or brand issue? What do you guys think? Let's talk about the casting for 1 second as well. The jury is still out for me on Ashton Kutcher. He's been in and out of the first 3 episodes, but we've seen them kind of develop his character. Haven't seen him in this type of role, at least not since the Butterfly Effect. So it's been a while. I think he'll do well. So, like I said, the jury is still out, but I think he'll be a good big bad for this show. But what if he's not the big bad, or is there somebody bigger than him? But I'm pretty sure you don't bring him in if he's not the big bad of this show. And as for the show itself, I'm still a little bit lost, but I think I know where we're going. I'm still locked in going into episode 4, so I'm going to keep going with it. Like I said, a little lost, but I'm there. I'm caught up. I get the lore. I get the mystery. I don't understand why we're globetrotting, but that's fun. So that's cool and it's different. So, and who doesn't like seeing these beautiful locations? The body horror, I love the practical effects of that. You can tell they took their time with it, and they're not using any real CGI. This is all practical. So that is really good. But so despite the slow, confusing start, this is honestly a really good show. And that takes me into my next section where I want to let you guys know if you should watch it or not. And I would say you definitely should watch it, but stream it with caution because it is a little out there and it can be a lot probably for some. And it is a little bit confusing, but I think if you take your time and watch it, sit back, you're not going to be able to do anything else and watch this at the same time. I promise you, you will be lost. I was playing on my phone for a few minutes and maybe about 2 or 3 minutes, and I basically had to start the show over. So just stream it when you have time. That is my warning. But like I said, the beauty is a wild ride so far. The first 3 episodes were really good. Looking forward to episode 4 next week. Stay tuned in with me, and we will get to episode 4 when that episode drops. We've got the lore, like I said. We've got all of our gross out, so we're good there. We know what to expect there. And now let's just see where this international conspiracy takes us. But let me know what you guys think about the show and the episodes down in the comments. Thank you for listening to Spoilers on Unfiltered, and I will see you in the next breakdown. Bye.